So last night I was in Mobile, Alabama, and never performed in Alabama. And tonight I'm in Biloxi, Mississippi, because I've never performed in Mississippi. So thank you guys for coming out. This is fucking awesome. I've only been here a couple days, but I can already assure you, I've performed in 43 states, and out of all of them, you guys have the worst drivers I've ever seen in my life. I was in the left lane at a stoplight. The guy in front of me didn't want to wait 30 seconds for the car in front of him to move, so he just drove over the curb into the grass, and then drove into the left turn lane, where he sat at a red light. And then our light turned green. 30 seconds later, we passed him. You could have just waited. Where are you going? Anyway. But what's great about having such shitty drivers is that your highways are lined with billboards for injury lawyers. So if you survive the crash, you can be like, oh, I'll call him, you know? So it's pretty good. This is really cool. I've been performing comedy for 11 years professionally, which means I sell beauty products on Instagram to pay. This means a lot. A couple years ago, I had a comedy special come out on a website called Dry Bar Comedy. And, yeah, 3 people have heard of it. And no. But it's if you don't know what it is, it's basically Netflix for Mormons. And yeah, I'm not Mormon, by the way. I don't know why I got defensive. There's nothing wrong with that. Well, there's a lot wrong with that. But so they made a service basically like Netflix for Mormons, because I don't know if you know a lot about the Mormon religion. Like, you're not allowed to have alcohol or caffeine or fun. So they're real dicks about it. So but they wanted to watch pop culture, and so they made a website where basically, if you're a Mormon boy and you want to watch Game of Thrones, but you're like offended by nudity, you just select from a menu like no nudity, and then you just watch the other 13 minutes of Game of Thrones. It's really a shitty series, but not a lot of tits. Anyway, but what's exciting is that they kept, exciting for me, not really for them, they kept getting sued by Disney, because you can't just steal people's movies and edit them. I don't know a lot about laws, but that seems like one that's pretty obvious, but sucks for them. They had to pay Disney like $60 million, and so then they were like, who else can we take advantage of? And they were like, comedians don't read contracts. And so they started doing clean comedy specials, and I filmed one, and it came out, and it got 15 million views on Facebook, which is incredible. I mean, it's also like, it sounds cooler than it is, because it came out in 2018. Like, people were sharing all sorts of bullshit on Facebook. Like, Hillary Clinton murdered 17 people, you know, I gotta share that. And then, oh, Andrew's kind of funny, we'll just share that, I don't give a shit. I know it's the South, and you guys are like, we don't want to laugh at politics jokes. She really did murder 17 people. Yeah, that's why you guys didn't laugh. You're like, I don't see what's funny about that. That's a serious threat to our national security. Seems to me, if she's killed this many people and no one has really locked her down, you know, that's the person you want. Running shit, you know what I mean? Yeah, the guy that's on Twitter, like, I just killed the guy. Oh, fuck, am I not supposed to say that? Poop, and whatever he says. You know, whatever, God bless you. What was I talking about? I'm very famous. Anyway, that's the point of all this. You're allowed to touch me after the show. Please do. I'm so lonely. So it was crazy for my career that this video came out, this special got 15 million views, and then I started emailing comedy clubs to try to get work and like better paying gigs and stuff, and they were like, who are you? And I was like, I'm the Mormon Beyonce, like, what do you want? But they weren't trying to hear that. So I was listening to a podcast one day about marketing, because I wanted to set up my own tour, and it was a podcast by a guy named Gary Vaynerchuk. Check him out, he's amazing. And he made a joke that was like, hey, if Facebook ads can convince people to vote for Trump, surely they'll buy tickets to your comedy show. And as a dumb libtard, I was like, hey, fuck you, but also that's a good point. And so I started running Facebook ads, and it turns out it's right. You guys won't believe anything on that fucking site. You'll just, yeah, this guy seems funny enough. Oh, we'll buy tickets. Never heard of him. Wow, we'll just pretend we know. And then when we get there, we'll be like, you're famous. And we're like, you have no idea. So I started testing it in a couple cities close to me, and I had a couple really good shows and a couple really bad shows, and all my shows were amazing, just the audience sucked. But I found out that my shows in smaller cities would sell out more easily than my shows in bigger cities, and I couldn't figure out why. And I called my dad, and we're chatting, and I said, the shows in big cities won't sell very well, but the shows in small towns sell amazing. And he said, you're like an Eagles cover band. Which was so insulting, but also true that you can't even get mad at it, you know? So I was like a little offended, but also like, that's a good point. And because he was like, you know, in a small town, a cover band will sell 100 tickets, but in a big city, they can just go see the Eagles. And you're not the Eagles. And so that's why we have 100 people in Biloxi, Mississippi. You guys literally have nothing else to do. So the Eagles ain't coming, baby. This is as good as it gets. But